We're going to see Sir Thomas Welby. He's gonna have a roast. Oh, I love roast. I tell you that now, it's gonna be fantastic. Oh, someone's calling. They want to know where I am. Got an extra place setting for the roast. You gotta love Sir Thomas. Great guy. When I see him, I give him a genuflect. I kneel down. Sir Thomas. I think he was knighted. Or does he just like the knight? I don't know. But I give him the credit he deserves, or the deserves he credits. Something like that. Sir Thomas. I got my utensils for the roast. You know, social distancing, whatnot. Yowzer! So we're on our way. We got your fork for the roast. You got a spoon. Somebody better be bringing dessert. I got the fork. I got a mask. Brought my Zoom with me. You're gonna have potatoes, Thom. You're Irish, right? Sir Thomas, we're coming to get you, baby. We're gonna have some dinner together. And everybody that's coming to the roast, thank you very much for coming. Sir Thomas will love it. I still don't know if it's a... Does he know we're coming to his house? Does he know? I don't know. They didn't tell me. Jesse's girl! With the river. 105 and 1035. Ah, you gotta love the river. They want to know where I am. Coming, Thomas, coming! Got my fork and spoon for the roast. Bring it on! Social distancing, I sanitized all of this. Oh, here we go. Let's see Sir Thomas. Let's go get him. All right, shut her down. Hello, Sir Thomas.
Hold on. Who's there?
Sir Thomas!
Oh,
I'm here for the roast.
wait.
I got my mask on. I'm kidding about the mask. Whoops.
Jose.
How are you, Sir Thomas?
What are you doing here?
I'm here for the roast. Look, I brought me fork and me spoon.
Jose, that's the roast is a Zoom roast.
I got a Zoom. Thom, right here, look. Got the Zoom lens. Look.
Oh, Jose, they didn't explain it to you.
What do you mean?
Did you talk to Michael or Joe? Did they talk to you or Linda?
They said, listen, can you go to the roast for Town Welby? I said, I love roast. I love roast.
It's on the Zoom on the computer. You.
I don't follow you, Thom.
Oh, do you have a? You need to do it on a phone.
Phone?
Or on a computer.
Like your dial-up phone.
Well, it's got to be a smart. Do you have a smart?
I'm pretty smart, Thom.
Smartphone.
I'm kind of smart.
The phone's got to be smart too. Now,
The hell are you talking about, Thom?
You got to have a smart. How about a computer? A nice.
I got a computer, Thom.
A computer
I
that
got
has
the
internet.
64-bit, the Atari.
Yeah. Kind of thought that might be the case.
Yeah, that'll be good. Can I get on this Zoom?
It's good, but not quite the good that we want.
Thomas!
You know Michael Stanton?
I do know him.
Go visit
Funny
Michael.
looking guy.
Mike, he's a piece of work.
Yeah,
He's a wonderful piece of work.
Oh.
Maybe Michael can help you out. Maybe you can go to his house. He has a smartphone. He's got a computer, a newer computer. It's like from the 90s, I think. It's a good one. Yeah.
So there's no roast here.
Well, there's a roast, but it's a Zoom, but not with a Zoom lens.
The Zoom lens.
It's not a Zoom lens. But you gotta. I'm actually they're.
The hell, Thom?
They're already on there.
On the Zoom.
I told them that I
had to call my friend.
All
right, Thom. I'm sorry about. You got anything for dinner, Thom?
Nice to see you.
You got anything for dinner?
I got a roast.
What the hell? Bring me in, Thom.
Come on in. You know.
Thank you.
We can do the whole
it's a
thing
roast.
They can wait.
I got my fork and spoon. We're good to go.
What happened to your mask?
Oh, Jesus, Thom.
We
Never mind. I gotta go, Thom.
We can't be catching the COVID.
No, I gotta go, Thom.
Okay, it's nice to see you. Tell Michael I said hi.
I tell him.
Next time you're around with Joe, tell him in the backyard. Tell him we said hi.
I'll tell him.
You know what? I should put on my orange Zoom roast shirt.
I gotta find out what the hell a Zoom is. Get back to the car. Zoom. Not my camera. Not the Zoom. What in the hell are people talking about? Zoom. Oh man, a shot. Now I gotta call somebody. Figure out about the phone. Hey, what? Smartphone? What the heck is a smartphone? Does it smarter than me? I don't think it is. I don't think it's smarter than me. We're going anyway. Smartphone. Ah. Well, enjoy the roast. Ah!
To Jose, the great dysfunctional leprechaun you just saw, to all of the sponsors and donors of gift cards, and a special shout out to Carol Tutka, who did a yeoman's job soliciting almost all of the gift cards. And to all of you who have joined us on Zoom tonight, and to Maureen Pesavento, who originally introduced the idea of roasting Thom. So Thom, you can blame Maureen, not me, for anything that doesn't go so well for you tonight. Also to Valerie Sarah at Less Than Alive for her technical support, and for all the great meals provided by Kristen Kozen at Meals on Wheels, and our special thanks to her for being so accommodating. And all those too who have donated their meals back to Outreach. Also to Carlene Gula at Outreach for helping to spearhead this event, and also the members of the Welby family for providing such great pictures.
Yay!
And finally, a very special, and the fundraising committee as well. And finally, a very special thank you to Outreach's Lisa Brister, who more than anyone else was responsible for pulling this all together. Outreach is very grateful to be a beneficiary of your collective generosity. Now, on a housekeeping note, there are some gift cards remaining. Keep in mind that all the gift cards have a minimum value of $25, and you only have to spend $20 to get one. They're available at the following website, tinyurl.com/outreach roasts Thom Welby. And again, that's Thom Welby spelled T-H-O-M. And again, I'll repeat it, tinyurl.com/outreach roasts Thom Welby. So why not plan on logging in and getting a gift card after the roast is over? And you really can't lose. You're getting more than what you pay for. Also, at the end of the program, Thom Welby will be pulling a random name for an autographed Matt McGloin football. So that'll be a great idea. Just to give you a little bit of background how we started this. When we first approached Thom, we told him it was going to be a testimonial. Well, Thom, I guess you've kind of figured out by now, this is not going to be a testimonial. There's not going to be any flowery speeches about you, and I didn't see any commissioners busting down the doors to provide any proclamations. Even your boss didn't provide a proclamation. And I guess you can forget about the gold watch too.
Yes.
No, Thom, this is not a testimonial. This is a roast. We're just here to bust your balls tonight. So, and what great cast to do it. We have ballbuster extraordinaire, Evie Rafalco McNulty, along with so fasten your seatbelt. One thing about Thom, just to give you a little bit of background about his resume, Thom has had probably a million jobs since he was a kid. Primary reason for that is he's had a hard time.
Old.
Yeah, well, the other part is you've had a hard time keeping the same one job for any length of time. You've gone from a paper route, stop and go, then at Superior Trophy. And by the way, have you been by your brother Gerard's place at Superior Trophy lately? That would be a great backdrop for a Halloween movie. Thom is also, I'm serious about that too. Thom has also worked summer stock theater, and he's had a lot of stints as a DJ. He could be either a disco king or a polka prince, as long as he's getting paid, it doesn't matter. He also was the director of the station complex in Wilkes-Barre and worked at Wolf and NEP TV. And he also had a long stint in radio. And I guess that's not so surprising. What better poster child than Thom for someone with a face for radio? Then he finally decided after all that was over, he was going to come out of retirement and serve as chief of staff for Representative Marty Flynn. And my only take there is, what the hell was Marty thinking? At Thom's age, needing a couple naps a day, how could he ever expect you to get anything done?
Oh my God.
But one thing I think really deserves revisiting, and I think a lot of people have forgot about it. Recall a year or so ago, Thom, you could have been our mayor. Everybody knows that you threw your hat in the ring for the interim appointment, and then all of a sudden things fizzled out. There was nothing no discussion, nothing in the Times, which is really surprising. And so I figured I'm going to file a right to know request to find out just what did happen. And for those in the audience, here's what happened. Apparently, Thom had approached City Council and he said, hey guys, and gals, I'm going to be very upfront about this. If I'm going to go down this road for mayor, I want to be very upfront that if I get it, I want a gas card. And I want a gas card both for personal and for business use. I think it's an appropriate perk for mayor. And surprisingly, they actually said that they would consider it. And then Thom uttered the words that would forever lose his chances of ever becoming mayor when he said, oh, and by the way, I want one of those cards that you get cash back on all your purchases. Thom, you make Pat DeSarno look like an altar boy. And speaking of politics, on your resume, I noticed another curious line, that you were on the League of Women Voters. I'm just wondering and ask you, how does that work? Do you go in and vote for your boss once, then go home and cross-dress and you get back and get to vote again? just
for success too.
Just checking. Well, getting back again to Thom's mayoral chances, he probably would have sucked anyway if he became mayor, because you really need to be tech savvy in that position. Thom's idea of being tech savvy is activating his speakerphone. But I really got an idea of just how much a technophobe Thom was when I got message of a call that he made from his office. And those of you in the audience, you may not know, but all those calls that come into the office are taped under the pretense that they may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. What they're really trying to say is they're tape recorded so that Marty can go back in and correct all the mistakes that Thom makes during the day. But I did get a transcript of one that really zeroes in on just in no uncertain terms how much Thom does not embrace the technological revolution. And believe it or not, it was when he was calling in a lunch order. So I did obtain the transcript from Marty, and here it is. Thom's calling in for lunch and he says, hello, is this Vincenzo's Pizza? The guy says, no, sir, it's Google Pizza. Oh, I'm sorry, I must have dialed the wrong number. No, sir, Google bought Vincenzo's last month. And then Thom says, okay, I'd like to order pizza. Do you want your usual, sir? My usual, you know me? Well, according to our caller ID data sheet, Thom, the last 12 times you called, you ordered an extra large pizza with 3 cheeses, sausage, pepperoni, mushrooms, and meatballs on a thick crust. Thom says, wow, that's incredible. That's exactly what I want. Then they said, may I suggest that this time you order a pizza with ricotta, arugula, sun-dried tomatoes, and olives on a cauliflower gluten-free thin crust. What? I hate vegetables. But your cholesterol is not good, Thom. How the hell do you know? Well, we cross-reference your home phone number with your medical records. We have the results of your blood test for the last 7 years. I don't want your rotten vegetable pizza. Besides, I already take medication for my cholesterol. Excuse me, Thom, but you have not been compliant taking your medication. According to our database, you only purchased a prescription of 30 statin tablets once at Rite Aid Pharmacy 4 months ago. Well, I bought it from another pharmacy. That doesn't show in your credit card statement, Thom. Well, I paid in cash, but you did not withdraw enough cash according to your bank statement. I have other sources of cash, smartass, but that doesn't show in your last tax return, unless, of course, you bought them using an undeclared income source, which is, of course, against the law. Then Thom, exasperated, says finally, what the hell? And then Google says, I'm sorry, Thom, but we only use such information with the sole intention of helping you. And then Thom finally says, enough already. I'm sick to death of Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other apps. I'm going to an island without internet, cable TV, or cell phone service, and where no one can watch or spy on me. I understand, Mr. Welby, but you'll need to renew your passport first. It expired 6 months ago. So, oh God. Now, shifting gears a little bit. Many of you may not know it, but when Thom was working in TV, he was always policing the airwaves, helping to protect the morals of the residents of northeastern Pennsylvania. And I am not making this one up. This was the headlines in the Times on May 21st, 1998. Fox 38 says, whoa to animal antics. An upcoming Jerry Springer show titled I Married a Horse will not see the light of day on the Fox Network local affiliate, according to spokesman Thom Welby. The episode features a man describing his 5-year marriage to his horse, a woman recounting her romance with her dog, and a man who says he is attracted to canines, not people. A Springer spokeswoman said she did not know how many other stations objected to this bestiality show. After previewing the episode, Welby said it was a no-brainer not to air it. Yeah, Thom, I know. You just wanted to keep the episode for your private porn collection. One other thing about Thom, he was always on the cutting edge in his career. And I'm going to give you one good example from when he was the director of the station complex in Wilkes-Barre. Most of you on the Zoom presentation tonight are old enough to remember the fabled wedding of Luke and Laura on General Hospital, where they had a TV event. It was a major TV event. Not to be outdone, Thom, when he was at the station, he had a mock wedding reception along with Luke and Laura lookalikes. And Thom, please don't tell me you were the Luke lookalike. So what he did, he reshowed the TV show on a giant screen. Now let's face it, how cutting edge is that? Replaying a TV show. But that's not all. Everybody who attended got free rice to throw at the lookalikes and a piece of wedding cake. From what I hear, Thom, you had a lot of rice to sweep up that night. And what I did hear, but I could not confirm, is that you had a lot of rice dishes on the menu the next day. And I do want to thank you for one other thing. Thank you so much for spelling your name Thom and not Tom, because it made it so much easier to look up this shit in the Scranton Times archives. Now, one last story I'm going to close with. One thing Thom and I do have in common. We're both from large Irish Catholic families. And what comes with that? Well, when you're growing up, you're scratching to make ends meet. You don't have 2 nickels to scrape together. But fortunate for us, we were the beneficiaries of the Kiwanis Club. They had an annual Camp Kiwanis for underprivileged individuals like Thom and I, and that's serious. And although Thom was a few years ahead of me at camp, I attended with his brothers, but his legend lived on. And this is what I'm hearing from his brothers and others, that he was the only one ever to be sent home from Camp Kiwanis. And one thing very serious about Camp Kiwanis, they had a very primary rule. For any of your serious business, you always had to use the latrine. They would look the other way if you had to take a quick whiz in the woods, but the latrine, if you had to do serious business, you had to go to the latrine. They were very concerned about the ecological effects of unfettered defecation in the woods. There was only one issue with that. Thom's tent was a half a mile away from the latrine, and he didn't exactly put it on his regular schedule. However, he did think he was pretty slick, using leaves to wipe himself so as not to leave the telltale toilet paper trail. But one day, he got caught literally with his pants down and got sent home. And his mother, hands on her hips, is waiting for him when he gets home. Thom, she says, "You gotta be shitting me." And overall, it's pretty cool as a roaster. You can really make up shit without much regard for the truth. And quite honestly, it makes me feel a little, well, almost presidential. So I've had enough fun time tonight, and it's time for me to turn it over to Laurie the Master. She was the former promotions and marketing director at NEPTV, and she, during that time period, referred to Thom as her work husband. So this should be pretty interesting. And now I will turn it over to Laurie.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laurie. How are you doing tonight? Good.
Awesome.
I gotta say, what a weird journey it's been to get to this place tonight, right?
Yeah.
I really want to thank everybody for being here. And I have to admit, I'm a little nervous. You know, I don't know, but you've heard people say when they do public speaking, you're supposed to imagine the audience naked. And I think that might actually be true this time. I see all you people with your video off, You got your pants on? Anyway, I'm actually glad to see you made it here tonight, Thom, because I halfway expected you to be late to your own roast. So if anybody knows Thom Welby, he's late to everything. I thought maybe you'd be late because you were too busy tearing rogue advertisements off of light poles in West Side. This is the weirdest thing I know about Thom Welby. You've seen those "we buy houses" and work from home and all those signage that they put on the light poles and stuff all over town, and sometimes they put them in yards and things. He hates these things. It bugs the hell out of him. So he actually keeps, this is true, I'm not making it, unlike our previous roaster, I'm not making any of this up. He actually keeps a crowbar in the back seat of his car. So every time he sees one of those things, you could be going to lunch together, you could be anywhere. And Tom's like driving down the road like this, looking for the signs. And he sees one and he, you know, it could be on Main Avenue. He'll double park on Main Avenue. You know, he can do that because, you know, official business, Marty Flynn or, you know, whatever. And then he jumps out of the car with his crowbar and gets up on the pole and he tears those suckers down and he throws them in the back of his car. And the back of his car is full of stacks. Stacks of these.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
Right? This is
Yep.
true. And here's the thing about Thom.
They can pay for the advertising. They
This
shouldn't
is what
litter.
I'm saying. He's not mad. He's not mad about city ordinances or littering or, you know, whatever, any of this stuff. No, he's mad because people are trying to advertise for free and he didn't get a commission on it.
She called it,
A
Thom.
radio ad or a TV ad, right? Buy a billboard from Lamar. See, this is the thing about Thom. Once an ad guy, always an ad guy.
That's good.
And that's how I first met Thom. Back when we worked together at WNEP, I was in promotion and marketing and he was in advertising sales. And I really didn't know many people in Scranton at all at that time before I met Thom. And he immediately became my best friend. And I'm sure there's people on this call that right now who can say that Thom Welby's their best friend. Well, I became his best friend. And I think maybe because he felt a little sorry for me because I didn't know anybody. But he took me under his wing and he started introducing me to his whole family. And before you know it, I became the unofficial 14th Welby kid.
That's right.
But please don't ask me to name them all. I mean, I don't even know if Thom can name them all. But that's okay, Thom, because I know you're getting older and, you know, forgetting your family's name is part of that. So don't feel bad about it, Thom. It happens to people your age. Anyway, Thom immediately made me another one of his personal projects, like he needed another personal project. And he started inviting me to all these fundraisers and happy hours and committee meetings. And he'd say, you know, come to my office and he'd be like, I'll meet you down at Tracks for happy hour. You know, there's a happy hour for Can't Stand the Children, which is what he would call Stand the Children. Stand for Children. He called it Can't Stand the Children. Anyway, he'd show up late. And of course, you know, because he had 3 other appearances he had to make before he showed up to the one he invited me to. You know, he'd show up finally after I've been sitting there for half an hour and, you know, he walks into the room and like, everybody knows Thom Welby. And it takes him half an hour to get to me because he's shaking hands and talking to people and making commitments and whatever. So he'd finally get to me and he'd order a wussy beer, which is what he calls Coors Light, which is what he drinks. That's the only thing he drinks. And then I finally get his full attention for like 2 seconds. And then he'd be like, oh, look over there. There's so-and-so from the whatever organization. Let me introduce you, which was really nice, you know, so I could meet people. But then we get to talking to this person he was introducing me to. And then I would realize what the real purpose of this meeting was, because he had promised this person on a committee somewhere that I would do something for them without telling me, of course. So he needed me to find out what that was. And so, you know, I'd be talking to them about whatever it was they needed the station to do or whatever. And I'd look around and it's like, where's Thom? He's gone.
He's gone.
Completely gone. It's like where's Waldo? Only it's where's Welby? No goodbye, nothing. He's the king of the Irish goodbye, right? But I met so many people in Scranton that way through Thom, and I'm sure there's a lot of people on this call that I met that way through Thom. So I can barely see you, Thom, but I see your hair's getting a little long. Back when I met Thom in the not so distant past, his hair was really, really long. And he tells me, you know, it's getting long again, but it's not a fashion statement or anything. And it's not because, you know, he can't get a haircut because of COVID. It's because he's too cheap. He doesn't want to spend the $12 to get a haircut. Because Thom Welby is so cheap.
How cheap is he?
Is he? Thom Welby is so cheap. You've heard of regifting, like when you get a gift from somebody and then you turn around and give it back to someone else? Well, Thom's the king of regifting. His basement is full of tricky tray baskets full of crap that he got from every fundraiser that he ever went to. This is true. But he's too cheap to actually use any of it. And this is how he Christmas shops. It's down in the basement to the tricky tray pile. And so if you get a basket from Thom for Christmas, be sure to check the expiration date on that big tin of popcorn. Because it says December 2010 on it. Okay, that's how Thom shops for Christmas. Thom Welby is so cheap.
How cheap is he?
Thom Welby is so cheap that he won't even spend a gift card. He has stacks of expired gift cards. Hey, money, Thom. No, you want it at a Can't Stand the Children fundraiser, okay? Spend it.
Oh my God.
Thom Welby is so cheap.
Yeah, cheap.
How cheap is he?
Thom Welby is so cheap that even when he's being generous, he's cheap. True story. This is, you know, he buys stacks and stacks of spiral notebooks when they go on sale for like 10 cents a piece, stacks of them. And then he gives them to the kids at Outreach, which is who the benefit for tonight is for, which is nice, right?
Yes.
And then imagine this little kid, he's got this brand new notebook and the excitement of getting a new notebook for school. And then the child opens up the notebook and looks, and here's a picture of Marty Flynn in it. He's pasted a picture of Marty Flynn. See, this is what I'm saying. Once an ad man, always an ad man. Right? So we're glad you could make it to your own Zoom party tonight, Thom. I know you probably are toggling between like 2 or 3 other Zoom meetings as we speak, but try to stay with us just a little while longer. So anyway, as much as we love Thom, I can tell you who the real hero is, and I see her right behind him tonight. It's his wife, Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
Hi,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Hi.
God bless you, Kathy.
Thank you very much.
Kathy Welby is a saint. We used to say that Thom was like Norm from Cheers. Remember Norm, the show Cheers, and Norm on the show? Hey, Norm. Like everybody knew he had a wife, but nobody ever saw her. It was the and this is what we say about Kathy. We used to call her Vera. Actually, sorry, Kathy. That's
I know.
So everyone knew he was married, but nobody had ever seen her. And then they actually, in the family, refer to her as Kathy Who, because there's 2 Kathys in the family. And when you talk about Kathy, you have to say Kathy Who. So that's actually Welby's, Thom's wife's nickname. But it's kind of perfect because, you know, like Kathy Who. So, you know, it just kind of stuck. And, you know, like how long did you know Thom Welby before you met his wife? And how long before you knew he even had a wife? And how many of you thought I was Thom's wife? Well, he was my work husband, so. So thank you, Kathy. We love you. You are so fun. You're so fun, and you're so smart, and you're so funny, and we absolutely love you. And
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Yeah, Kathy's my tequila shot partner.
Yeah. That's
It's a wonderful. wonderful mother to Emily and stepmom to Alden, and she's a wonderful mother to Thom.
I try my best.
He's a
We
patient.
cannot imagine the amount of patience it would take to be Thom's wife. And for that, we are so very, very, very grateful to you. So Thom, I know you're probably anxious to get on to your next fundraiser, so I'll wrap this up.
I'm trying to finish Marty's newsletter here.
Two or three other things you need to get to, but the thing is, there are a handful of people in this world that make the world go round, and Thom is one of those. And I don't think there's an organization or business in town that hasn't benefited from knowing Thom. I mean, hell, I don't even live in Scranton anymore, and Thom still found a way to wrangle me into this. So the real reason he has all those raffle baskets and gift cards is because he can't leave a fundraiser without dropping a few bucks for a cause. And the real reason he's never on time is because he can't say no to somebody who needs something. And his is a life of service, to his family and his faith and his clients and his work and his community. He's so humble. He never asks for any recognition. And I'm sure that you are completely embarrassed and mortified by this whole thing, which I think is hysterical. But you know, here's the real thing about Thom. He really can stand the children. And he cares about the kids at Outreach. So just like George Bailey, Thom, it's a wonderful life. You're the richest man in Scranton. And it's a wonderful life with you in it. So here's a toast, Thom. This wussy beer is for you.
And mine is very close. It's water.
This wussy beer's for you, Thom.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
Good job, Lori.
So now, thanks everybody. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce Linda Champy. As Executive Director for Outreach, Linda is honored to continue Outreach's legacy and mission, promoting family stability and economic self-sufficiency. Linda.
Gotta figure out how to come back to this roast stuff. Roast! It's roasted in my car, I'll tell you that, for crying out loud. It's like 400 degrees in here, I'm roasting. Give me a nice glaze. Hook me up. For crying out loud. Oh no, there's no roast at my house. Well, who's telling me there's a roast? Who's telling me there's a roast?
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, expect the unexpected this evening. One never knows where lurks a leprechaun. Thank you, Jose. I'm telling you, it's a roast. Roast, he said roast. Welcome one and all to Outreach's roast of Sir Thomas Welby, appointed knighthood by none other than Jose the Dysfunctional Leprechaun. And knighthood is defined as a title given to a man for his achievements or his service to his country and his countrymen. And this reminded me of a quote that I had seen and heard many times. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And Sir Thom, thank you for laying down your life for your friends at Outreach this evening. We really appreciate you. Sir Thom's friendship and efforts share a common bond with the mission of Outreach. And I want to read just a quick recent quote from Sir Thom, and it goes as follows. I have been a volunteer, former board member, and supporter since the mid-90s and have seen the life-changing miracles that occur at Outreach. We at Outreach couldn't agree more with Sir Thom on his legacy of giving and gifting in our community and to our organization. Life-changing miracles occur every day at Outreach when individuals like Thom, Sir Thom, step up for the life of a friend. So drum roll, please. Lisa, can you give us a gift card count on how many remain?
There are 34 gift cards remaining.
34 gift cards remaining and available for you to choose from as she spins the wheel. And don't forget to stay tuned for Sir Thom's presentation of the giveaway later on. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sir Thom's next roaster, Evie Rafalco McNulty, the Dame of Manuka.
That's it.
Dame Evie was featured in Happenings magazine in July of 2017, and the article was entitled, "A Sit Down with Scranton's Sweetheart." Dame Evie's life perspective, while humorous, strikes a chord of honesty for us all. And I'd like to read a brief quote from Dame Evie's interview as follows. "Life changes every day. We become different people as a result of those changes. The cycle of life brings us happiness, sadness, and sometimes loneliness. The one thing that grows stronger amidst those times and becomes more valuable is friendship." It is now my honor and privilege to introduce our third roaster this evening and a dear friend of Outreach, Dame Evie. Take it away, Dame Evie.
I like it. Dame Evie. I like that. I like that. Dame. Now, somebody really did be like that damn Evie, but I mean, this is wild. I gotta say, listen, this is the first time ever that I am speaking in public and I don't have pants on. It is great. It's just, I mean, just the visual. I can see Paul Welby out there. Tom's brother, he's breaking out in the sweat with that. But I just, yeah, I suppose you're happy at this point that their dinner's not being served. So I have to tell you, during all the planning for this, and I'm telling you, planning, and the committee here is just meticulous. We were talking about how it's going to flow here, it's going to flow there. And Jerry must know, if he said it once, he said it to me 10 times, you can't go on and on. No time to rattle. He said, you can't let on your performance because we're under a time frame here. And I found that it was quite ironic because he's told me that I had X amount of minutes, and Thom Welby, as Kathy probably knows, he's kind of a 2-minute guy, so if you know what I mean. So I mean, it's like, oh boy. So I thought, well, how ironic. I got just poor Thom, God bless him. He really is. He's a good guy, but there's some people that are just characters in the world, and Thom is one of them. And I want to assure that everybody who's out there watching today that the cardboard cutouts they are not cardboard cutouts, rather, that you're seeing on the Zoom chat. They are actually Thom's friends and supporters here. So I got a question for you. So how many guys you know by the name of Thom? Probably a lot, right? Really? How many Thom? Really? He had to be different right from the beginning. He had to be. I remember being with Jim, and I think he was at Fox, and Jim knew him a lot longer. He was at Jim's age, actually. So they were a lot at Fox TV, and he really wasn't that old. But I said, he's spelling his name wrong. And he's like, no. And he's like, just put it down. It's Thom on the envelope. It's Thom. He's not going to give a shit as long as you give him the check because he gets his Thom's the kind of guy who, if he felt like he was dropping off the face of the earth, and I know one of the pictures were, and it was for a good cause, but he thought maybe he wasn't getting enough attention. He shaves his head. I mean, it's just, Thom's, as someone said, he was one of 13 children. He's 3. And I'm telling you, every single one of them can talk. There's every one of them. It's like the Welbys, they have the gift of gab. Thom's father was, he was a devout Catholic, but he never quite got that rhythm thing down. Thom said he often joked about the fact that his father said, he would often say, white man ain't got no rhythm. So the 13 children later. So I was in planning this. I talked to a couple of Thom's friends, and not his work wife, but another job, and one of his dear friends, Sherry Frabel. So I called Sherry a while ago when we were pre-COVID, and I was getting like, what's the story? What can I get on him? And she was giving me stuff. I'm like, can't use that one. Can't use that. So she gave me a couple little tidbits about Thom that we may not know. Like Mr. Sweet, caring, kind Thom Welby. Well, he has no patience. And does not like to wait in line, whether it's a traffic line or a grocery line, and has been known to, just react in times like that. I myself would say it's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. And another one of the things that he hates to be embarrassed. Well, suck it up, pal, because tonight's you hate to be embarrassed. Well, live it up. You want a life of public service. Here you go. She also told me this one story, and I thought, how about this? I mean, this took a set of balls. He went down to visit Ronnie and Sherry Frabel. His dog, Mitzi, or whatever the dog's name was, peed in the house. He was mortified. So he left. Did he clean it up? He left. He was just so mortified. The dog pees. And now, I mean, I know Ronnie Frabel. I mean, if there's anybody's house you want to pee and it's Ronnie's Frabel, look at this here. He didn't want to try to clean up for him. And so Tom's he's a social butterfly. I mean, everywhere you look. I mean, it could be a funeral line, a political event, anywhere. And it was, as Lori said, he's all over the place, hopping from one place to another. But you see him all over town, but you really don't see him on a Friday night, unless it's First Friday. Right. He likes First Friday because Fridays are date nights. So he didn't want any, he only likes to be out. He doesn't like to be out. And so when he has to give an answer as to why he isn't out on a Friday night, he doesn't want Kathy to be home alone on a date night. Whoa, that's what he's saying, Kath. How about that, right? He wants to do because he doesn't want to be out. And then he's just the worst when he has that. Yeah, he's laying it on you that he doesn't want to be out on a Friday night.
I'm used to it.
As we all know, Thom loves a microphone. He worked in many, many places in his career as a DJ. When we talked about some of the stuff that he did, we call it DJ now. Thom says spinning records. Does that not tell you when he started it all? So now, albeit the places he worked at, they're all closed. So here's a couple. Only anybody over 70 years old you might be able to remember. So the Odyssey,
Yeah.
Hotline, Gatsby, the Oz. That's my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Top Dog. What the hell was Top Dog? That you had to you flip records at Top Dog or Rocky Glen. So the only place that hasn't closed that he worked at is WNEP. I'm like, how the hell do you close a news station? But I suppose if you stayed there long enough, how about he calls himself the chief of staff? Marty Flynn. I was chief of staff once for 2 days. Commissioner O'Malley got rid of me. So, but he works for Marty Flynn. Now, I don't know what kind of a job that really could be, because who the hell's Marty Flynn, really? He's not right? So Marty is Marty, well, everybody knows Marty. I'm still a little up in the air about him myself. But Marty once told me that the reason he hired Thom, I keep looking at it the wrong way, so you think I'm I got this problem. I'm looking at Tom's face up here. The reason he hired Thom was because he caters to he acknowledges birthdays all year long of the senior citizens. And he would call, and he really does. He has a nice conversation with them all. So he figured that if he hired the Silver Fox himself, he's the voice of those seniors. They just love him, that they would be able he'd score a couple of votes. And I know this is funny. You think that Marty Flynn isn't thinking about a vote when he does things, right? Thom is carrying in hustling little kids with their spiral notepads. So, but that's what Marty said. That's what he want to do. Thom Welby, this is serious. They'll come to the office and they'll call me and he'll say, Thom Welby's coming in. I'm like, what now? And whether he's finding a tax exempt status for a veteran, or he's getting a flag on a grave, he really is. I mean, they come down there and he walks them down. We do the work, and they say the handsome guy with the white hair, he helped them. I'm like, there you go. I mean, don't get me wrong. He loves his job. I don't think he's taking money for a liquor license or a handicap placard over there on West Side. I mean, they are known to take money for things over there. But I don't think that that he does yet. Anyway, I mean, he hasn't been at there so long. So, Kathy, I know you're grateful that he has a social life. I mean, I would be too. You and Emily are just, except for Friday night, but he's gone every night. That's pretty good. I mean, I know that. I mean, I was just thrilled when Jim had something else to do. It's kind of nice. My mother told me the other day, this is the truth. She said to me, I like him. He's a nice guy. I said, yeah, he is. He said, he would always come to the 606. Now, my mother retired about 10 years ago from the courthouse and the cleaning lady. And so they would go out for a few cocktails down the 606 Club in Southside. And she said, oh, he used to come and drink with us. I'm thinking, now my mother's 86. I mean, this was how many years ago Thom would come down and drink with him. She said, yeah, I like him. I don't remember much about him, but I know. She said he never sprang for a drink, though. I thought, no. That's not planned, Lori. There it is. How cheap. The beers are $1 for a bottle. And someone said to me that if Thom calls you that it's time to go out, he wants you to go out, to hang out or something, it's for a cause. And again, stand with children, of course. Lori kind of made that a little bit more interesting when she was like going on about the kids. Stand with children or sit down with women is always a cause. And that's what he's all about. And I mean, he's there. He appears when you need him and whatever it is. And as Lori said, he may have set you up many times. And I think he set you up when I would call him to get some work done for one event or another that I was doing. And
Probably.
That's just what he does. And he really does have that Irish exit thing. He's done.
I know.
He's just there and then he's gone. It was just kind of, I know he's troubled. God love me, wanted to be mayor. And then, aren't you so happy that you decided that wasn't the case? God love me.
Yes.
Oh boy. But, and when I said that Thom is there for the good and the bad, and I just, a year ago, one of my best friend died, and she is the sister of Paul Welby, who was one of the 13, and he's married to one of the fabulous Frey Bowles, Debbie, and Lisa was in intensive care. And I remember just sitting there, and we were in the ICU room, and I turned around, and there you were standing in the doorway, and I thought, as in life, you would be there for her as you were. And I just remember that. I thought, just Thom Welby is there. You're there for all, whatever it matters, and people love you for it. And all kidding aside, he's the best of the best. He's a friend for life, and he's there with you, and he's in the happy times and the sad. And he's been a friend of mine and a supporter for years. And that's not because he gives me a lot of money, because he doesn't. I mean, I never heard a bad word escape. I never heard a bad word come out of his mouth. And I mean, I am the queen of vulgar and bad. And I mean, he would stand next to me. Oh, Kathy's kind of thrown out. And I've never heard a bad word said about him. He's loved by all who know him. And Thom is the epitome of community service. His community service projects and the boards that he served on are too many to mention. And again, I can't go on too long because Jerry told me he was going to cut me my time and just flip you off on the computer. Thom was always quick to credit his employers, who over the years have encouraged him and were agreeable to him to do the community service, the work he did. And he made them shine as well, but that wasn't his intention. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're better people, and we're a better place in this community because of Thom Welby. And he believes that public service is a key ingredient to a person's life. And he said this in one of the articles. He learned about sharing and caring of others through his childhood with his brothers and sisters and his parents. So I'm not going to go on and brag about Thom, because he'll do that next. Seriously, no, really, he'll just pretend he's not. He's going to blow smoke up his own ass, but that's just what he does. So it's not easy to put yourself out there to be roasted. He's done it with grace and humor. And it's kind of like being an elected official, except I raise my hand and I get sworn into office. I sit back and get paid for it. And tonight he's getting abused, and it's for a good cause. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Thom Welby, the guy who's made a life out of giving to his community. He graciously gave himself here tonight for yet another good cause. Gotta love the guy. Thom, it's all yours.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much, Effie and Jerry and Laurie and Linda and Lisa and Carlene and excuse me and everybody for Valerie for putting this all together and everybody for joining in today. I'd like to get you all back here, but you just knocked me over with. Yeah, quite a bit of it was truths, and also Jose.
What the hell's my roast? You kick me out of your house, you invite me in for dinner, and I don't get a roast?
You could have stayed here and enjoyed some roast. I would have put in a roast for you.
No, you said go away and you don't have a mask.
That's true. You did have that scream mask on.
Well, Pinky. I figured out the Zoom thing. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead, Sir Thomas.
Not the Zoom lens.
Not the Zoom lens. I figured it out.
No, really, seriously, it is true. I am embarrassed by it, but and humbled, but so grateful that you all participate in this tonight, and so grateful also that we can do something and help out outreach, not only tonight but going forward in the future. I got involved with outreach back in the middle 90s. Marion Wright Edelman had a Stand for Children Day down in Washington, and I wanted to go and whatever came up, I didn't go. And I got in touch with them down there, and they said there were a few people from this area that were there and signed up and wanted to move things forward with Stand for Children. And the one person got in touch with me. She called, as I recall, Carlene Gula. And we got together and talked about doing some different things. And first she introduced me to the people at EOTC, and that was terrific. It was just a great marriage to begin with. And we started Stand for Children Days up at NAOG once a year. It was almost like a predecessor to the Touch a Truck thing. The deal with being part of Stand for Children was about 20 to 40 different participants. You had to put up a table, hand out your information for whatever it was, and it was everything from the library to public service groups and to service organizations, some businesses. But you had to give out your information, and that was okay. And we agreed to not charge you for the table, for the space that you used, but you had to provide something to each child or family member that showed up there. Every single kid that showed up there had to get something free from you. So by the end of the day, everybody's walking around with two big satchels of things that they got from the day. And it was good. And then we, Carlene's kids, had a suggestion to add in for the in between the kids who were a little older, the 10 or 11 to 15-year-olds, bands. So we had garage bands there as part of it as well. And the people that I met through there, and outreach was there. They put it on. I just fell in love with everybody at outreach and EOTC at the time, and everything that they stood for and everything that they did, and how great an impact that they made on so many people. And over the years, I've come across so many people that have just knocked me over with their appreciation for what outreach did to them and with their lives. At Walmart one time, checking out, and a woman, I don't know how it came up, whether it was the person with me or whatever, mentioned the words EOTC. She stopped what she was doing. I choked up thinking about it. She stopped what she was doing, turned to us and said how because of EOTC she was working and she had become what she felt was a success for herself. Another time we had a speaker down at the Radisson for an event to talk about EOTC. And a gentleman spoke about how 2 years before he was addicted. He had no visitation or any rights to his children. He was unemployed.
And at that night, through EOTC and the help and the programs that they assisted him with, he had a full-time job. He was putting a closing on a house, and he had possession, custody of his children. And so many other people over the years have who didn't feel a great deal of self-worth or had issues within their structure personally or family. EOTC and now Outreach has affected so many lives and turned them around, and we don't know the extent to which it happened and how many lives. It's like a reverse funnel. It starts out with that one life and spreads out into so many down the road in years to come. And it's wonderful to think of the number of people that have been impacted. And I can certainly appreciate being one of 13 kids, and my dad died in 1969. I was the oldest one at home at the time. My older brother Jimmy was in the Navy, and Anne Marie had just gotten married. And so there were, can you imagine a single mom with 11 kids? Can you imagine 11 of me? Joke about it.
Tom, not really.
No, I would have drowned half of this. I definitely. But through those years, we got along and got to appreciate how a hand can be a helping hand and a hand up. And Jerry mentioned about Boys Club Camp. We called it Camp Kiwanis. And it was. We had 2 weeks at camp for free, and it was fabulous. It was great. It was.
Without a doubt.
Some of the years were more interesting than others. Some were shorter than others too. It was great. And there were so many people that helped us along the way. I remember one of the things that impacted me, and I was just a little kid, was once a year we got to go up to the Elks Club. I believe it was the Elks Club up near Lake Scranton. And each of us got an overcoat, a hat, shoes, and a gloves, and it really made an impact, and I was incredibly appreciative of it, and it kind of taught us the value of to reach out to someone and help them when you can. Not for any ulterior motives. You don't do it because you're going to get something from it. You do it because it's the right thing to do, and you hope and pray that person down the road will do the same thing. And I think everybody that's in here tonight is of that spirit. That's why you're here, and it's so great. And as far as outreach goes, hopefully in the future you can think of perhaps something that you can do. Maybe an organization that you work with might consider putting together a fundraiser for outreach. I have here, it's probably reversed. We do have a little brochure here. Can I, let's see. It's online, and it has all the different programs that are available. And you can reach out to Linda, you can reach out to Carlene or Lisa or everybody else at outreach. And some of the programs that are there, over the years, I've witnessed a lot over there, from when you were down on Washington Avenue and out on Wyoming Avenue and in the new building. I've personally seen with my own eyeballs people whose lives you've turned around through the programs, whether it was the parents as teachers, the play and learn group, seeing the work that you do in there with them, the family reunification things, the specialty courts programs, workforce development, and one of them, the family reunification or the reentry initiatives. I actually had an attitude for a little while about the work that EOTC now Outreach did with the people at the prison, and I had this back of the head thing that, well, they must be there for a reason, and I was kind of slapped upside the head and reminded that everybody makes mistakes, and let's help them to straighten out their lives and become a productive member into the society. And you've just done incredible, amazing work, and you do it because of people that work there, people that volunteer there, and people that support you. And you just knocked me out. You embarrassed me with this night, but I'm glad that I get to do a commercial for you. I'd like to continue doing commercials. I think I can arrange to have one done and aired out in Omaha
Maybe.
We can hit her up now.
We're doing a little marketing for you guys out here, so yeah.
Yeah. But it is, I so appreciate, I can't thank you all enough. I hope I didn't disappoint you by not returning the barbs that you all so much deserve. But really, it's been such a great evening. I appreciate you all so much, and I love you all so much for what you have done in the past, what you continue to do, and believe it or not, what you did tonight. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Tom.
We love you, Tom.
Love you. Love you all. This also, I'm sorry, Jerry, just the for you all to pull this off with a Zoom meeting. I mean, for us to go through so much from back when it was originally scheduled, and we all wanted to cancel it so many different times for so many different reasons, and let's see if I can get Kathy in there, and didn't. I'm so glad that you all stuck with it and found a way to get it done and have it and have this evening together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, I think you have a special giveaway, don't you?
Yeah, you got all
No,
flustered.
actually, we were supposed to give away. We had a football from Matt McGloin. In fact, they gave me everybody tonight. Their name is in here. And Kathy, would you hand me that over there, please?
Are you keeping it for yourself, Tom?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That was a nice try.
Good try, Tom.
Laurie tipped us off on stuff like
Put
that.
it in the basement with the other crap, Kathy.
She's a saint, though. Kathy is a saint.
She is a saint.
Yeah. So yeah, I was. If you didn't remind me, Jerry, yeah, it would have went down the mantle and been donated for another basket raffle. But yeah, we're gonna pick out a number here, a name rather, and that person gets the Master Point football.
God, he's mixing it like he's doing the daily number, for God's sake.
Thom Welby? Actually.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That wasn't fixed, right?
How
Okay.
about that? And I didn't have to palm it.
Wow. I'll grease you later, Tom.
Again, that West Side bribery thing.
Yep.
Also, we do have one other. I spoke this afternoon with Paul Sr. I went to high school with Paul and wanted to thank him for donating the football. I believe it was Jerry that got the football. But I wanted to thank him and express the thanks of the entire organization from it. And I talked to him about how this all started and how I resisted. But Maureen Pesavento, we love her, but what a pain in the dupa. She wouldn't let up. She wouldn't let me bow out. Absolutely not.
Good.
And because of Maureen, it was going to happen. Absolutely. And I mentioned that to Paul, and that she's always been such a big fan of the entire McGloin family. And he said, well, I have one more football, and I would like to donate this extra football, and here's the winner.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. How appropriate is that? She's the one that is responsible for this event.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
To be sure that that she knows and is clear that the football is not just from Matt, but it's from the entire McGloin family. And they thank her for all that she does in the community.
Nice.
Very nice.
Great.
Very nice.
Great.
She can pick it up here at my house in a year or two.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Thom. You've been a tremendous sport this evening, and collectively on behalf of everyone, we can't thank you enough. This is normally the time in a presentation like this where I tell everybody have a safe drive home, but that can't happen tonight. But I will say to everyone, please stay safe in this COVID environment that we're in, and we will get through it together for sure. But before we end, or when we end, I should say, there will be a short video, and the trick in the video is to see how many hairstyles that you can count that Thom Welby had throughout the session there. But again, thanks to everyone for attending tonight, and Thom especially, the roasters, everyone who attended, Jose. This has been a fabulous night, and it was a real big experiment. Could you do a roast on Zoom? And I think Thom would effectively agree that yes, you can. So thanks to everyone, and make sure you just stick on, and we're going to run the video now, and have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you, Welby.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Welby's. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Outreach.
Thom.
still here. The show's over. The roast is done. There's no leftovers. No leftovers for Jose. No, none of those. Still don't get this roasty thing. Thom Welby, great job. Thank you to everybody who participated. And I'll see you next time there's dinner. Until then, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. Bye now. So long. Have a great day. It's over. Do you hear me? I'm telling you, the whole roast is over. Go home. Go home. Go home. Hit leave Zoom. Leave Zoom.